Hello from Adelaide. Just arrived in Adelaide, and on the way here I was reading this book of the day. My book of the day is Tig Notaro's I'm Just a Person, which is all about, I'm sure many of you will know the background story, but it's about a really hideous year that she had, where she ended up with a terrible illness that may well have nearly cost her life, and then her mum died in just a very kind of odd minor accident that you just feel shouldn't have been the reason that someone dies. And then she's diagnosed with cancer, and then her partner at the time leaves her. I won't give anything away, but there's lots of happiness at some point. And it's beautifully written, very evocative about the way that she writes about her mother, and also the way that she writes about dealing with disease and the pain. But I particularly like this bit as well, which was just when she talks about the first time that she did stand up, and kind of the effect that it had on her, when she basically met a congregation of oddballs indeed from some special part of the universe. I began to refer to the comedy scene as the land of misfit toys. It was comforting to be surrounded by people who didn't fit into the confines of society. And it was the first time in my life that I wasn't met with the boring conversation stopper. Oh my God, you're so weird. And that's something that I've written about today in my blog as well. That's not obviously true of every single stand-up, but you probably have got an increased chance of meeting some of the better weirdos if that's the world that you go into. And you'll meet some awful weirdos as well, but you'll meet some of the better weirdos as plus. So there we are, that's today's badge. Today's badge is Edie Massey. We're currently in the Brisbane Convention Centre, and that's what's going on at the moment. Just doing a little bit of a sound check. That doesn't really give you a true suggestion of what is on the screen at the time. Anyway, I'll see some of you in Brisbane.
This is all, it's a fake Hello Cleveland, I should say, because you did, before you turned that on, you said, let's do a Hello Cleveland. So we're doing a Hello Cleveland, and, but it's not really. But I can probably, I can do something like going, downstairs, oh.
See that though, I like the fact that you, there we go. Not as many turned up as we hoped tonight, have we?
I wonder which way it is.
He's giddy, he is giddy.
That would be nice. Thank you. Tonight is an evening on astronomy and cosmology. And I think
A little excerpt from Importance of Being Interested, So It Goes chapter. There's another possibility, and that is that you are that Boltzmann brain. You're very close to the end of the universe, you and only you. Nothing else exists. And your experience of this sentence is a remarkable illusion that occurs due to enormous periods of time and probability. But we'll get to that later on, or at least you will, or won't. It's worth contemplating the rarity of complicated life in the universe at this very moment, from the evidence we have so far. If you're fearing your insignificance, think how significant it is that atoms have such a small window of opportunity to be part of complex structures. Vast from a human time frame, minuscule from a cosmic time frame. There is significance in the fact that every structure you see can exist. Look at the solid shapes around you. Start to imagine them dissolving, the forces within them losing their grip, your reality thinning, the colours being turned down further and further, solidity being lost. As Carlos Frank told me, each step further back in time creates a denser universe, and so each pace forward in time creates a universe that is a little less cohesive than yesterday. Things will fall apart. The centres of things really will not hold. Hello Australia and other people who might be awake about now. I was just going to mention this book, The Importance of Being Interested, which has just come out in this paperback form in Australia. It's also in the UK as well. And amongst other things, it includes the poem that I perform in the Horizon show with Brian Cox. Last night, a ghost collided with my head. It was the light from something dead. Once it breathed hydrogen. I'm not going to do it all now. But anyway, that poem is in here in the new forward, and also lots of it includes chapters on how we approach the nature of time, chapters on mortality, the size of the universe, space exploration. I spoke to Jane Goodall and Helen Sharman and many other people about Rusty Schweikart from Apollo 9. So anyway, this book in this form is out now in Australia and in the UK. Not that many other places, sadly, but I think it's all right, actually. Got a nice quote from Carlo Rovelli on it, so there we are. Unfortunately, I went a different way back from the art gallery, and that means I came across Adelaide's New Morning Books, somewhere that I visited before, actually, I think about 3 years ago. And I wasn't going to go in, I just had a little look in the window, and then I just saw on one of the shelves, there was this Ronald Furbank biography, and I thought, well, I've not read a Ronald Furbank biography, so I need that. And then the browse began. Even though I tried to have a parsimonious browse, I still found this book about Julie Christie, which is probably a bit too big for my luggage, and then this book about Liv Ullmann, which is definitely even bigger than the last one, Vampires and Violets, which I think I used to own a copy of this, Lesbians in the Cinema, got stuff about Hammer and Marlene Dietrich, all manner of things. And then, of course, once I started talking about Ronald Furbank and about the work of Dick and Edwards, I don't know what I've swallowed there. I hope it's not a fly, because I don't know where the nearest spider is. Anyway, I was talking about Dick and Edwards and his work on Ronald Furbank, and that led to a conversation about Frederick Rolfe, who apparently also became Baron Corvo. And so the bookseller pulled out this old penguin, The Quest for Corvo by A.J. Symonds. But the treat really was on the shelf of cinema things, was this, which is just someone's scrapbook. Probably from about 1952, 51, 52. On the cover, you can see faded Alec Guinness, written in pencil, some of the stars within, which include Danny Kaye, Claudette Colbert, Joyce Grenfell, Stanley Holloway. And that's what this book is. It's just a rather wonderful selection of, I don't know if you can see it there, just little cuttings. There's a lovely picture of Stanley Holloway. There's a picture of Richard Todd. Anyway, so he gave me that for free, because it's one of these things that I think is both worthless and in a certain way priceless as well. Sadly, there's no name of whose scrapbook this was, but it reminded me of my mum's scrapbook. Of her two scrapbooks, one which was Audrey Hepburn, because she was born in 1939, so by the time she was 13, Audrey Hepburn was the star that everyone wanted to be, and another one which was all about being an air stewardess, because of course that was the most romantic career in the world in the 1950s. Anyway, an excellent bookshop, New Morning Books. Shouldn't have walked past it. Too late now. Good afternoon from Adelaide. I'm just outside the Art Museum, which is over there, and I've just been to one of, I think, only 2 Oxfam bookshops in Australia, and I'll just show you the books that I got today in my Bibliomaniac tour. This is led by Lawrence, which is a book all about T. Lawrence for children, and I bought that because it's by Gurney Slade. So some of you know why I bought that. Gurney Slade, the Anthony Newley link. A memoir by Joan Lindsay, author of Picnic at Hanger Rock and Journey to Pondalea, amongst other things. Almost didn't buy this, and then I noticed it had some pressed daisies inside it, and I just like the fact there were still some pressed daisies there. Play Power by Richard Neville. I've got a very tatty copy of this at home, but with not such a good cover, without the kind of School Kids Oz style cover, so I had to get that. Penelope Gilliatt, because she sounds like she's got something interesting to say about a lot of theatre and Goddard and Tony Hancock. William Blake and the Tree of Life, a kind of thesis on William Blake and the Tree of Life. I bought that because I just noticed one thing which said that William Blake predicted the theory of general relativity. So that was enough, that one line, to get that. And then on top of that, Gabriel Byrne, his memoir from 1995, because my wife saw his solo show and thought it was absolutely fantastic, and I thought she would enjoy reading that. Maybe Tomorrow by Bury Pryor, because I know nothing about him or his life, and it looks like there's a story that I should know about his life. William Irwin Thompson, there we go, Passages About Earth, and I bought that because he is part of one of my favourite stories by Apollo 9's Rusty Schweikart, the story of when he went to speak at Lindisfarne, and the first time that he met the philosopher William Owen Thompson before that, and it's an interesting story. And then I picked up this, so the first page is missing, but it starts at chapter 1, just copyright stuff, and there we go, The King of the Barbarines by Janet Hicksman. I know nothing about it, but I judged the book by its cover, and it sounds like, again, there is an interesting story to be told.